So, give me just a second here. Just waiting for him to get on, and then we're gonna go over week 1 results and preview week 2, and maybe spill a little bit into the Antonio Brown situation that's going on. Yeah, Brent, we'll get to that. So that is definitely on the agenda. So just again waiting on Neil here. So if anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to drop them in the comments, and we'll make sure we get to them if we can. Okay, 1 second. Here he comes. Neil.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, you're sideways. What's going on?
Because I got my phone's charging and it's kind of dead, so I gotta lay it on the side because my charge port's on the bottom.
Oh well, I mean, as long as they can hear you, that's the main thing.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
You good?
Yeah, can you? Actually, I probably should have turned this on before. Hang on.
Oh Jesus, Brent.
All right, now I can hear you.
All right, so I pretty much told everybody that we were going to discuss what happened in week 1, answer some people's questions, and kind of dip into week 2. But first, I kind of want to dip into the big news that's been going on during the week with Antonio Brown. Now, I don't really want us to give our opinions on whether we think he did it or not. We just kind of want to. What do you think the NFL could do about this situation, or do you think he's going to be able to play?
I'm sorry. Did you ask if he was going to play?
Yeah, I said, do you think he'll be able to play?
He'll be able to play. They've already determined that.
I meant
I don't throw my personal opinions in on how I feel about a particular player or person. I just go based on what I found as facts. And the facts are that it just seems kind of odd to me. And it's not just athletes, it's anybody who's in a position of celebrity. But it's just odd how these women, years after the fact, come out and say, oh, well, he raped me or he did this to me. My question is, okay, there was supposedly 3 separate incidents, 2 in 2017, 1 in 2018.
That's correct.
How do you allow the second and third to happen if the first happened?
Yeah,
if you're hurt.
I agree with you on that statement. Again, I'm not going to dip into whether I believe it's true or not, but if this girl did allow, say she is telling the truth and she did allow this to happen, why would you go back for a second and third? Why would you forgive somebody for that?
Right.
And that I've thought about that a lot, especially over the last 24 hours or so. And just to me, it just seems like that would be pretty stupid to allow that to happen a second and third time.
Put yourself in that situation again, knowing that it's already happened, and there's a good probability that if it's happened once, it's probably going to happen again.
Right. But
that's my take on it.
When the Bill Cosby thing, when he got arrested, there was a girl who got drugged by Cosby, knew she got drugged by Cosby, then went back to his house. It's like, where are you going tonight, honey? Oh, I'm going to get drugged by Bill. Are you kidding me?
Right. That was another situation. I mean, there's no doubt that he done it. I mean, he's doing, he's paying his consequence, but.
Right. Well, you kind of froze
Sorry
there.
About that.
You're good.
Yeah, my alert.
You're good. All right. Well, I don't want to spend too much time on that because that kind of gets people riled up. I just kind of wanted to go over it briefly so people can't say I didn't go over it. So let's kind of jump into week 1, and I wanted to ask you right away, who do you think had the biggest win in week one?
The biggest win I would have, well, to me, it actually, see, I'm a little torn here because one, it was a win morally, I guess, but it wasn't a win in the record books.
Okay.
How can you be down by 18 with just over 14 minutes to go in the fourth, a rookie quarterback, a horrible offensive line, an even worse defense, and manage to tie that game? And I'm talking about the Lions and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That was, to me, that was a big win for the Cardinals. That was a big moral victory.
Yeah, I mean,
But as far as actual, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, technically it is like, half a victory. So, I mean, that counts. So.
Right. But as far as actual wins go, Tennessee, I mean, that defense is lit. That defense is absolute fire. And Mariota actually looked fairly decent. I mean, I don't personally think he's a good quarterback, but in that particular game, his defense set him up and put him in good spots. The Cleveland offense helped him in good spot, be in good spots. But and that was part of their doing and part of the Titans defense doing.
No, I agree. I was gonna say Tennessee too, but I'm gonna switch it because you stole that from me. So, I'm gonna actually go with Buffalo. I think Buffalo had a huge victory. They had, if I'm not mistaken, 4 first half turnovers that resulted in only 7 Jet points, and to come back down 16 that late in the game was just remarkable, especially since like everybody was, me included, and I want to just tell everybody I was wrong on the Jets. The Jets sucked. but a lot of people thought the Jets were ready to roll, and to come back and win a game that a lot of people thought you didn't have a chance to in New York was huge, I think, for Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree.
So now let's shift to the other end of the spectrum. Which team had the biggest loss to you?
Well, again, I'm going to say it wasn't a loss, but morally it was a loss. And as the Detroit, I mean, how do you allow, Matt Patricia is supposed to be this defensive guru. How do you allow a team with a rookie quarterback, a porous offensive line, and a garbage defense to come back 18 points on you?
Yeah.
So, but I had to throw that in there on both sides of the spectrum. But as far as actually my answer for biggest loss is going to be the same as the opposite of my biggest win, and that's going to be the Cleveland Browns. I mean, and they did it to themselves. He, 18 penalties. That's very difficult to overcome in at any level, whether it be high school, college, whatever. 18 penalties, self-inflicted, 3 yards that you're giving to your opponent. The left tackle getting thrown out of the game because he couldn't keep his cool didn't help. So, you got a backup guy coming in there who's obviously nowhere near as good because he was absolutely a swinging door over there.
Right.
I mean, guys were just coming free on Cameron Wake, namely, was just raining all kinds of terror in the backfield. And I'm not putting any excuses out there because Baker played horribly too, and he admitted he played horribly.
He did.
But I feel that he was pressing them, especially the last 2 picks. He was pressing the issue. He was trying to get his team, trying to help them recover from all the stupidity that they put out there as a team. And I'm pretty confident you're going to see an entirely different team. From everything I heard, they had a really, really, really fired up week in practice this week. Baker, as the offensive leader, was out there just getting in people's rear ends for things that they weren't doing right in practice.
Right. Yeah. Well, they got a good opportunity. They got the Jets on Monday night with no Sam Darnold, so they have to win that game. Like there's
Yeah.
no excuse that they lose to Trevor.
Well,
So
and not only that, but I mean he's been cleared to play, but Lev Bell had an MRI on his shoulder, and obviously it's bothering him
right,
to the point where he's got soreness in there. So I don't know. I mean, he's probably going to he's going to get a workload, but I don't know if it's going to be as heavy of a workload as it was. And I didn't hear any more of the status of C.J. Mosley. I know he went out in that game last week against the Bills. I don't know if he's going to be playing this week or not.
I haven't heard a single update on him.
And if he's out, that's a huge hit for the defense.
Yeah, it is, because that's when they started to collapse against Buffalo, is the moment he left the game. And,
right.
And that's kind of when it all went downhill. I was going to use Cleveland too. So I shift because I want to cover the same thing, but I had two. I was going to talk about two, so I'll just use the other one. I think Chicago had the biggest loss of the week. You go in at home, you get the opportunity, because the Super Bowl champion always gets to host the Thursday night game to kickoff, right? The NFL, because it's the 100th year, gives you the opportunity to host the kickoff game, because you guys have the oldest rivalry in the book for the NFL 100th season. So you have an opportunity to go out there in front of everybody to kick off the season and punch a team that everybody had declared dead. Like, the Packers were finally dead. They don't help Rodgers. All this, like everybody 7 wins, 6 wins. Chicago's supposed to run the North, and you go out there and the defense looked good, like it should have looked. Chicago's defense was phenomenal in that game. But Trubisky, this was supposed to be his breakout year. Everything I read, he was going to take the league by storm. He was going to, I was thinking, he had like the 4th best odds to win the MVP this year, and then he goes out there and he played like that. Like that. That was just pathetic all around from everybody on Chicago besides the defensive unit. And if I'm in Chicago, I don't feel very good about our offense, and I don't feel like we're Super Bowl contenders with that showing.
Yeah, I agree. The Chicago offense was garbage. The only player that really, to me, showed up was Allen Robinson, and welcome back to the NFL, Allen Robinson. It's good to have him back, because that guy showed so much promise when he was in Jacksonville, and then just the injuries, and he just he's finally looks like he's finally getting back in the swing of things. The defense actually played a good game. I mean, you hold Aaron Rodgers in that offense to 10 points, you're doing all right. But just the Bears' lack of offense and lack of a running game. And I don't understand that. I mean, they touted David Montgomery all year, since they drafted him, and dude gets 6 carries. And
he did
6 carries and 1 catch. He looked good. He to me looked like, and I'm a little biased, I guess, maybe, but he looked like the best running back. He was definitely better than Mike Davis. But
Davis was awesome.
He did. He did more with his opportunities than Davis did with his, even though Davis got more carries. That 27-yard reception that Montgomery had was a thing of beauty. He showed why they drafted him. He's elusive for a big guy. He's elusive. He's got a little shake to him.
No, I agree. And the numbers kind of don't paint the correct picture for the game Montgomery had, because I know he only had 6 carries for only 18 yards, and it was only 3 yards a carry, but he looked good on those carries. I know he didn't get very far because the blocking was awful, but he was making people miss tackles all over the field. And that, I guess, so I shouldn't have said except the defense. The defense and Montgomery looked good for Chicago. So,
yep.
But I'll
and we're talking about a 230-pound kid that's moving like that too.
Yeah.
He's not a small guy, but he's got some shiftiness to him for somebody his size. Usually, 230-pound guys, they just want to run you over. There's Saquon Barkley is probably an exception to that, but I mean, Montgomery, you can almost, I think you can add him to that list. He's not Barkley-esque, but he's got some shiftiness to him.
Right. All right. So I'm going to move down the questions that people asked for us to answer. The first question was, obviously, being from where we're from, we get a lot of these. But it's about the Lions Cardinals game and the Lions meltdown. He wants to know if the Lions season is over before it started. Like what positives and negatives did you see about the Lions, and do you think it's time to panic after week 1, or do you think that there's time to fix the problems that they had and try to make steps forward?
Well, positive I saw was, and it pains me to say this because I was a little wrong, but I mean Hockenson and the way they're going to use him. I think Stafford is going to fall in love with him real quick, and I mean, there's no denying it. The kid can catch. The kid's got glue for hands, runs great routes. You know, his forte coming out of college was his blocking acumen. The kid's a beast blocker. So Hockenson definitely was a plus. You know, really offensively, there really wasn't much other, you know, in the way of pluses. You know, Stafford looked good. I mean, 300 plus yards passing, 3 touchdowns.
385.
You know? Yeah. I mean, so he looked good. Galladay had some flashes, but that running game, what is going on with that running game? Is this a full committee?
Yeah, I mean that's what it looks like to me. If you look at the carry breakdown, it was pretty, pretty even between the running backs, and I mean I think that's a good thing. A lot of teams do that, but I think you need to find a running back more that you believe in that can take the load. But I don't mind the committee approach. Amendola looked good too, other than the bonehead play where he didn't go out of bounds. But he had 7 for 105 and a TD, and I think, he's if he can stay healthy, he'll be good for Stafford. Hockenson, not only did he catch well, but you said coming out of college he was a great blocker. Pro Football Focus actually said that he was the best blocking tight end of the week this week. So that carried over to the pros, so that's good for them. Defensively, they looked really good for 3 quarters and then just completely melted down. But I think a lot of that has to do with the coaching, because they got real conservative when they got, and then the offense was going 1, 2, 3, punt, because they couldn't establish a running game, and the defense started to get tired. They were on the field a long time in that fourth quarter, and actually most of the second half of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, they were on the field a lot. And you can't do that. Like, you gotta, you play conservative to a point, but you gotta keep your foot on the gas to a point too. Like, this just shows you can't play too conservative, because this is the stuff that happens. Now your defense is sitting duck out there, and then on top of it, then Bevel calling the timeout when they have a chance to ice the game, because he's panicking because of the play clock. Like, Stafford's in his 11th year, he's gonna get the play off. He knows what he's doing. Like, you kind of cost your team the game. And I don't want to say it's time to panic for the Lions after one game, but that was kind of like a game that everybody gave you a W. But it's kind of like Detroit's thing, where they don't beat those teams and then they go and beat some team that they shouldn't beat. So if they lose to the Chargers this weekend, now it's panic time. Because if they beat the Chargers, then they kind of offset what should have happened. You know what I mean? Like, because people are picking the Cardinals to lose to the Cardinals. Well, they got the Chargers without Hunter Henry at home, and if they can win that game, they're all right. If they lose, it's definitely panic time. So that's my take on the situation.
I don't know if the Chargers are going to have Mike Williams either. He didn't practice again today. He's got a issue with his knee from last week. He went out of the game last week because of a knee problem. So they actually re-signed Dontrell Inman to fill in, which he did a decent job when he was there before, and he knows their system. So it's not like he's going to have to have any time to acclimate to anything. But that was and I think the turning point of that game, to me, and Jordan and I were talking about it, was, why did Darrell Bevell call that timeout? J.D. McKissick was going in untouched.
He was scored, dude.
Oh, nobody was near him. I mean, he was going in unmolested, and yeah, that was a dagger. And for me, it's always been that way with Detroit. Something stupid always comes up in a game, and it swings the game for them more times than not. A big call. I mean, we can go back to the playoff game when the catch or the non-catch, or the non-pass interference, I should say, against Dallas.
The
and I know
balls I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that was absolutely brutal. Probably not as bad as Saints and Rams last year.
I said before last.
Right. But now, yeah, that tie made this game a must-win for them. They've got to win this game for morale, if anything.
Yeah.
Because people are starting to doubt Patricia.
Yep.
So that's kind of my take on that whole thing.
So, all right. The next question somebody asked was Lamar Jackson. Were you impressed by Lamar Jackson, or is he a better quarterback than people say he is, or was it just a product of playing the worst team in football?
Oh, absolutely. I believe that he's a good quarterback. I've heard nothing but reports all summer long about how he was improving dramatically in his passing. If you noticed, and you watch him last year, his delivery last year, watch his delivery this year, it's night and day.
Right.
He's got a monster tight end who was a beast at Oklahoma. He was a beast last year as a rookie. He beasted against a very poor Miami defense, but Mark Andrews is the real deal. I think Lamar Jackson is. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I really do. Because he's just got that added element of, he's got them wheels, and it breaks down, he's gone. Right.
I agree. When we did a season preview, this is the second time I'm gonna have to eat crow on here. There was a lot I was right about during the draft thing, but the two big ones that people have not let me live down now is that I said that Lamar Jackson was trash and he'd have like a 31 accuracy in Madden. I am not sold that he's a great QB yet, but he's definitely higher up on my book after that game than he was beforehand. I think it's a combination of both. I think he has gotten better. I think he looks good. He made some good passes that it really wouldn't have mattered who he was playing against. He would have completed those passes. But also, I think everybody's going to tear up Miami. I mean, RG3 came in the game and he did the exact same thing. He went right down the field, boom, 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 scored. So I want to see it. I want to see it again, but they're playing Arizona this weekend. So it's not like I want to see him do it against the top non-competitor before him for sure to say, okay, this is him. He's here. But I'm starting to believe a little bit now. It's hard to ignore the stats he put up regardless of who he played. You're still playing in the NFL, and to put stats up like that against guys who are professionals at what they do is impressive regardless of the opponent, and you can't take that away from them.
That's exactly what I was going to add in there is they're still a professional team. Even if they are the worst professional team in the NFL, they're still a professional team. And guys have pride, and pride overcomes everything.
Yep.
So, but yeah, and he's only going to get better. I mean, you're talking a full, not even a full season, when he played all but 4 games last year before he came in, and 1 game this year. And he's got a couple nice warm-ups before he actually gets into some, decent defenses. So, and Marquise Brown is a kid. He only played 14 snaps, but wow, did he make them count.
Yeah, 14 snaps, but 4 catches for 147 and 2 TDs. I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah.
If I could multiply that by 3 and all the numbers by 3, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Right.
So, yeah, they look good. Next, Brent wants to know what's in the water in Miami.
The owners are cheap. And I'm not talking about just Miami, the Dolphins. You look throughout the landscape. The Marlins are garbage. The Heat are garbage. The Florida Panthers, who play in Miami, are not that good. They're all different owners, but regardless, they don't want to spend money. It's just like when the Marlins won the World Series and was it 02 or 03? They had a fire sale. That's how the Tigers ended up with making
Miami.
yeah. I mean, so yeah, it's just a ownership mentality. They want to just burn it down. They want to be cheap. Their facilities, from what I understand, are some of the worst in the country. So
okay, are they tanking?
Oh yeah, definitely. But you know what? They're tanking for the wrong player.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree with you. Based on the reports that I read afterwards, the players are not tanking. Okay, they do not want to lose. Like half the team has to be traded after the game was over. Like, I mean, that doesn't sound like a team that's like, okay, well, we're gonna tank and get a team. Like, that might be like the owners like mindset. Like, we don't want to win these games. We don't necessarily want to put the best players on the field, so we don't win these games. But those players are trying hard. They're not out there giving up. Like, they suck, but they're not out there giving up. Like, you don't be like, okay, well, we're gonna tank and then go, damn, this sucks. I want to be traded. Like,
yeah, but I mean, ownership is trading their best players away. They traded their best offensive linemen away. They traded, and this isn't really saying much because they don't have a lot for receivers down there, but they traded, in my opinion, their best receiver away to Houston with Laremy Tunsil. And there's nobody to block now for Drake and Ballage, which was obvious because both of them had miserable games last week. Yeah, like I said, it's not the players that are tanking, but it's the ownership that's tanking.
I agree with that. Okay, next question. How does AP handle being a healthy scratch only to be thrust back into the role with another injury to Darius Geis?
Oh, he's going to run like a man possessed. I firmly believe that. He'll probably get, I mean, it's up to the play calling and the game script. If Dallas gets up big on him, well, you're probably going to see more Chris Thompson because AP just, he's a runner. He doesn't catch the ball.
Right.
Not like Thompson does anyway. But I figure he'll probably get about 15 carries at least. And it's going to be an old chip, but he's going to have a big chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I agree. And I heard that the vets were not very happy with the fact that they made AP a healthy scratch in favor of Geis.
Oh yeah, I heard.
And so there's a little bit of locker turmoil there in Washington over that decision. So Adrian Peterson is very salty about it. Maybe not publicly, but he's definitely salty about it. And I put him in my fantasy. I'm in one of my fantasy leagues this week. I think the only one that I have him in, even though he's projected to get like 6 points, I feel like they're off on the projections just because I know Adrian Peterson's like dedication and his will to prove everybody wrong, and him being a match, like his coach has already kind of hinted at the fact that he doesn't really like AP because he's not versatile, right? So he's gonna take that as an insult, and as long as they don't fall like down big in this game, he's going to run wild in this game. I think he's going to have over 100 yards on Dallas as long as Washington can remain in the game and compete with them. So that's just my opinion. I might be a little biased because I'm a big AP fan, obviously, but the dude's a monster. So
yeah, he should be all right. I mean, I don't listen to projections in fantasy anyway, so I kind of play more of the matchup, and what the possible game, what the more than likely game script is going to be, more so than watch what somebody projects that he's going to get 16 points this week. They're never right.
Yeah, they I just want to point that out because other people that are watching and stuff like to look at those projections and stuff. So I just point out that they don't feel like it's going to be very good, and I disagree.
Well, perfect case in point. Denver's defense is actually a fairly decent defense, And Josh Jacobs, I remember, if I recall right, was either 16 or 18 points he was projected for in my sleeper league. And dude went off for over 30.
Yeah.
So
And
that's why I don't put a lot of weight into those projections.
Right. Yeah. In one of my leagues, well, actually all of my leagues, I think I have them in like every league. Hawkinson was projected for like 4 points, and you see how that went. So
yeah.
like, so yeah, don't always go off of that. But next question is, do you feel Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat in Pittsburgh?
Yes. And he's going to be even more on the hot seat after this week, and you'll find out later. I'll cover more of that later on, but yeah, he's definitely on the hot seat. They got some issues in Pittsburgh.
They do have some issues. I do believe he's in the hot seat in Pittsburgh, but I don't think he should worry too much because if he does get fired, he'll have a job in a heartbeat.
Right.
Done nothing but be successful in Pittsburgh. And they have problems now, but there's going to be a team that's going to be like, look at his success that he's had, no matter what. And we really don't know the truth of how much of this is even Tomlin that's been all this dismay, because it sounds like he had 3 giant-ass divas on the team. I'm looking at you too, Big Ben. 3 giant-ass divas on that team that was just hard to control. So he's definitely on Pittsburgh's hot seat, yeah, but I don't think he's got to sweat it too much, to be honest with you. So, but, yeah, so are the Ravens for real?
Yeah, they're definitely for real. That defense is, I'm old school. I believe in defenses. Defenses win championships. If you got a great offense to go with that defense, even better. But the Ravens proved that you can win with a great defense and a mediocre to below mediocre offense. And I believe they have a very good offense, and I believe they have a very good defense. Yeah, they're for real. I'm being a Cleveland fan, I'm a little nervous now after seeing them.
Their defense is for real. Like I said, I pretty much covered it in the Lamar Jackson segment. I need to see a little bit more against a better quality opponent for me to believe in their offense fully. They could run the ball, though, that's for sure. Mark Ingram, I think he only was on the field for like 22% of their snaps or something and got over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah. Oh, they got 3 very capable backs there. Yep. I mean, even the rookie Justice Hill is, he can come in there and do damage.
Right. I agree. Is Odell Beckham an asshole for wearing the watch on the field?
You know what? I'm going to go on a little tangent here. I've been waiting for this question. I personally don't give 2 shits about what somebody wears or what they drive or what they have in their house or how big their freaking house is. You know what? I watch these guys to watch them play football. What they do with their money, that's the key. It is their money. It's like my money. Somebody tells me how to spend my money, I'm going off on it because that shit irritates me. That's my money. I earned it just like they earned it. So if he wants to go and spend $1.5 million on a watch, hey, bro, go for it, man. That's your money. Do what you got to do. That's all I got to say about that.
I want to bring up another point too, and again, I'm an Odell fan, and everybody watching knows I'm an Odell fan. So you can take this how you want to take it. I don't care. But Odell Beckham never brought up the watch. He never said anything about the watch. He never ran his mouth about the watch. The media brought the watch up. The media decided to make it a big deal. Odell Beckham didn't even say, I bought this fancy-ass $360,000. It blended in with his jersey. Half the fans didn't even know he was wearing a watch. The media had to bring that shit up. Like, it was literally bronze colors. Like, so he wasn't wearing it to stand out because you couldn't even see the watch. Like, so I stopped. The media needs to stop making this an Odell Beckham thing, and Odell is a diva and all this type of stuff. And yeah, Odell's got some growing up to do, but in this situation, Odell Beckham didn't do anything. And the fact that he gets hammered by the media for what he spent his money on is fucking ridiculous. And if he wants to wear it on the field because it blends in with his jersey, if he breaks that $330,000 watch, that's his problem. Let it go. Who gives a shit?
Well, I guarantee you that watch is insured. So if it gets broken, he's going to get another one.
Right. No, it probably is. But what I'm saying is, even if it's not, like, that's his problem. Like, what the
Right.
hell cares?
Right. Exactly. It's his money.
Right. So,
You know, it's J.G. Wentworth. It's my money. I want it now. You know?
Oh, that whole thing just infuriated me. Like, infuriated.
Me too.
All right.
Me too.
This week, when I heard about that, I was just like, give me a fucking break. Anyways, is it already Daniel Jones time in New York?
Yes. I thought it was Daniel Jones' time week 1. He was the better quarterback in camp.
He was. He looked unstoppable in the preseason.
He gives them a chance. Eli, they don't have a chance. Eli he's got the experience, and that's the only advantage he's got, literally. Right. He doesn't have the arm. He's never been mobile. You know, Daniel Jones has got both of those. He's got the arm. He's mobile. And, yeah, it's time. They got to move on.
Right. I agree with you. This is not a knock on Eli Manning, but his time is just over. He was a good quarterback in his day. He's a Hall of Famer, and don't argue with me. Nobody argue with me. Anybody watching out there, he's a Hall of Famer. He'll get in. 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 victories over Tom Brady, 8th all-time in passing yards, like 10th all-time passing TDs. Either that or it's reversed. It's one of those two. He's getting in the Hall of Fame. But his time is up. It's Daniel Jones' time. If New York wants a chance at any type of competitive season, they got to switch now. Because nobody's scared of Eli, and they're just going to stack the box to stop Barkley every single game because Eli can't beat him. So you need to get a guy that's going to make the defense respect you and give Saquon a chance back there.
Well,
it'll be a long season in New York if they don't.
For me, the Giants got more pressing issues on defense anyway. That defense is, you saw that little clip I sent to you of, I can't think of his name right now, the coach over there, but yeah, he was not happy.
Yeah. Okay, another question from my friend Stefan. He said, did the Titans beat the Browns or did the Browns lose to the Browns?
The Titans beat them, but the Browns gave them the tools to do it. If that's an answer at all. I mean, like I said, 18 penalties, a left tackle losing his cool, getting thrown out of the game, Baker pressing and making stupid decisions. You know, it was just a perfect storm. And you do that with any NFL with any above average NFL defense, and they're gonna expose you. They're gonna make you look stupid.
No, I agree. The Titans look good though. They looked real good. Derrick Henry looks like the real deal. He wasn't just the 4-game sensation we had at the end of the year last year. The dude can ball. Mariota looks like Mariota of a couple years ago. If he can stay healthy, maybe that's dangerous. He looked really good. Not sold. Again, it's kind of like the Lamar Jackson situation. Like, one game isn't going to sell me, but it was a good showing by Mariota and could be a plus side. A.J. Brown, the rookie that they drafted, he looks pretty good. So I think the Titans got a lot of promising pieces. Corey Davis is non-existent in that offense now, so I think it might be the rookie's time now. But the game was 15-13 with like 2 minutes left to go in the game, and then I think Derrick Henry scored on that 75-yard screen pass. And then I think this is Baker being young. Baker panicked. We're running out of time. Now we're down by 9. And he just started trying to wing the ball in everywhere. And that's where things fell apart. I think if the Browns lost the game, Baker lost the game. And I love Baker. The more experience he gets, the less this will happen. But that's him being young, thinking, I could do this at Oklahoma, I can do this here. Newsflash, Baker, this isn't Oklahoma anymore. This is the NFL. You can't make the throws you were making in that game just because you're behind and you're trying to make plays, you still got to make smart plays. And being down by 9 isn't ready to panic yet. Like, you had a whole quarter to go. So the Titans definitely won the game. Baker sealed it.
Yeah, the other thing I want to add to that, to the whole Baker part of the comment, is Baker's a gunslinger. He is an absolute gunslinger. He takes chances that most quarterbacks wouldn't even think of. You know, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Brett Favre, and the way he approaches the game. I'm not saying that he's going to be a Hall of Famer like Favre, but I'm just saying the way he approaches the game, the risks he takes, or that he's willing to take to try to put his team in a position to win the game. See, yeah, he's a bit of a gunslinger. So, I mean, it's going to be expected. There is not one quarterback that's ever played the position of quarterback in the NFL that has not thrown a few stupid picks.
No, that's true.
In one game. I mean, I've seen Peyton Manning do it. I've seen Brady do it. All of them have done it.
Yep.
It was just that one. It was one of them games. That's all it was, man.
Yeah, and I wasn't I wasn't trying to knock him. I'm just saying that a lot of those decisions and stuff, when he gets experience, he wouldn't try to make. Like, a lot of those quarterbacks you named definitely did that, but as they got older, those happened a lot fewer. You know, once they played, the less that stuff happened. And I think it's just a lot of being young, trying to be Oklahoma Baker, and like I said, it's only, I mean, really, this is first game. Not being a rookie, so technically he still kind of got those rookie vibes in there, you know. So he's going to be a good quarterback. I'm not panicking on Baker. I'm just saying in this game particularly, he made some poor choices, trying to will his team back into the game instead of letting things happen. Odell Beckham was non-existent in the second half, and he was trying to force balls to Beckham just because he's Beckham. Like, that, he was like double covered and triple covered where there was no opening for anything to go to. And like, those, they're gonna have those games. They're gonna cover Odell. He's your threat, right? So you got to be able to notice that stuff. And you got Njoku, you got Landry to go to. You know, like, you got other weapons. It's not just the Odell show. And I think he'll figure that out more as he ages and he gets mature. So.
Yep.
Another question was, they want to know what we think of Jacoby Brissett's debut as the Colts starting quarterback.
You know, Brissett's he's a decent quarterback at this point. He's not absolute. I mean, he's not Brissett a couple years ago. He's got a line now to protect him. He's going to be good for that, in the interim, for them to have the time to find the franchise quarterback of their future.
Right.
I don't believe he's that, but he is a good placeholder for that.
Right. Oh, I think he played a good game, though. I mean, he only had like 193 yards, but he did what he needed to do. I thought the Colts were way more competitive than I expected them to be in that game. I thought the first few games without Andrew Luck, they were really going to come out flat, and they really didn't. It's like they kind of wanted to show the world that we were more than just Andrew Luck. You know, like, they played a really good game against a really good football team. Marlon Mack went nuts, and I don't know. I think it might have been Gangles. I think that I had this argument with back when he was in the NFL longest yard group, and he had no faith in Marlon Mack. The dude, if he doesn't get hurt, he's a stud. He's going to do a lot of good things for Indianapolis. Brissett looks like I said, he did what he needed to do. 193 yards, no turnovers. Don't quote me on that. I don't think he turned the ball over, did he?
No.
No, I didn't. I didn't think so. Yeah. So he did what he needed to do, but he's not going to be the answer there. People are like, oh, he signed an extension. Like they signed him an extension because he's a solid backup quarterback. You want to keep him there, but they're going to be looking for a franchise guy. So he's not that. He's like I said, he's a good backup. I wouldn't be disappointed in having him as my backup quarterback at all.
Right.
But yeah. This one's from Gangles. He wants to know if you think John Ross is a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, because when AJ Green comes back, he's just basically there because he's got to be now. He's got to be in that role, and he's a little guy. He's not very big at all. He's very slight. I don't think he can hold up, to be honest with you. He gets a physical corner on him like a Slay or
Rhodes?
Yeah, Rhodes. I mean, somebody who's going to put their hands on you and maul you all the way down the field. He's not going to be able to do much with that because he's just not physically. He can't do it. He's fast. I mean, I'm going to give him that. The kid is probably, well, I believe he's probably the fastest. I think he's faster than Tyreek. And I think he's faster than Marquise Goodwin, who is a world-class sprinter. I mean, he recorded the fastest 40 time in the combine. So, I mean, kids got burners, but I think when Green comes back, I think he's going back. Obviously, he's going to go back to a complimentary role. He's going to be more of the third option because Boyd is going to be the second option when Green comes back.
Yeah, I think yes, he's a one-hit wonder for what he did this past week. I think his speed is going to keep him in the league like for a while because as a returner or anything that you need him to do, it'll develop into anything where you can use speed to your advantage. But he's never going to be that. He's not going to be Tyreek Hill ever. So, like,
it just cracks me up. I'm going to tell you a little funny story. In our one league, in our redraft league, we had a guy spent $208 of fab on him.
What?
Out of his $300 budget. Yeah, $208 of fab on John Ross.
For a guy who's only going to give you a couple games and then he's going to go right back to a
It's probably. I'm betting it's going to be his only game, really, to be honest with you.
So I just meant the starting role. Like he's only going to have a few games. Green's way ahead of schedule for his ankle surgery, so he's going to be back maybe 3-4 more. And then
he's running on a treadmill right now.
Yeah, like what the hell? No way. that is insane.
That was our big.
We're not gonna blast him on the internet, but you need to DM me who spent those $208. Okay, we're not gonna do that here, but
right.
No, I need to know.
Yeah, well, we had fun with that this week.
Yeah. Okay. My neighbor Miguel, he wants to know what in the hell happened to Denver's defensive backs.
What happened to? I'm sorry. Say the question again.
He wants to know what happened to Denver's defensive backs.
I honestly don't know. That did baffle me in that game because they were pretty good last year, and it was almost like I don't know, man. Tyrell Williams made them look dumb. I think. Well, and no, I guess not. I was going to say I think the additional Waller in the middle, but they had Jared Cook last year, so that really doesn't wash as far as a reason. I have no answer for that, to be honest with you. I mean, they just it's kind of like they fell off the face of the earth, to be honest. To be truthful.
Yeah. I honestly don't. I was hoping you had an answer to this question. Because I don't either. I watched the game. Actually, I ran through the game 1.5 times. Because I watched the first half when I came home and got off my flight. And then the next day, I watched the Saints-Houston game. And I just started the Broncos-Raiders game over at the beginning. And just watched the whole thing again. And it just – I don't know what happened. Because it just seemed like no matter what, they were getting beat. They were getting beat by everybody all over the field. And it was just like this defense – their head coach is supposed to be some defensive guru. And his defense is supposed to be like top notch, and they got shredded apart by a very average quarterback and no number one receivers. Like, I mean, maybe it's John Gruden brilliance. Maybe it's the fact that Josh Jacobs was running all over him. But I don't got like an answer that I could like give this person like a solid answer as to why. Maybe the defensive backs just suck. Like I got nothing. I'd have to watch a few more games, but I know Denver's D wasn't the best last year, but it was supposed to be back to form this year. Like that was the big thing everybody was talking about. And I know one game's too hard to count the defense out, but they didn't look good.
Vaughn and Chubb showed up, but they were missing the other 9 guys.
Right. So yeah, I got no answer for that. What do the Broncos need to do to fix their offensive line? Is it a coaching issue or is it a player issue?
It's both. They need to fire their offensive line coach, and they need to draft better and do better in free agency.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a handful of guys in free agency that's available. Elway's got to be willing to spend some money. You're not going to cheap your way through this, especially on offensive line. To me, offensive line is the most important position on the field. People say quarterback. Well, yeah, to an extent. But without that offensive line, the quarterback can't do his job. Nobody can do their job without that offensive line.
Yeah, ask Stafford.
So, right. They got to draft better.
Yeah, I agree. I got no more to add to that. That was everything I had. I don't have anything other than that. Craig wants to know if he should start any defense that plays against the Dolphins.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, as long as it's a decent defense, I mean, the Dolphins are going to make them look better than what they really are. But I mean, I'm starting New England this week. I actually went and grabbed them in all leagues that they were available in.
Yeah. Can't say that I would disagree with that. Miami's the worst all-around football team in the league, so you got to think that even average defenses are going to have exceptionally well games against that offense, which was just atrocious. And I think it was funny because they benched Fitzpatrick like it was like his fault, and like Josh Rosen threw a pick like his first pass. Like,
yeah.
And
that's why Rosen's not the answer there either. He's a career backup to me from everything I've seen from him. I thought maybe it was because he was thrown to the Wolves in Arizona. They not having a line, and Mike McCoy being an archaic play caller. I mean, Mike McCoy would have thrived back in 1934. But yeah, I mean, that poor kid didn't have a chance. And I'm kind of wondering if it's like maybe a little bit of a Joey Harrington syndrome. Joey Harrington, I believe, would have been a good NFL quarterback had he gone to any other team but Detroit, because of the way they used him and the situation they put him in as a true rookie with no offensive line in front of him.
Yeah, but Joey Harrington went to Oregon. Those guys.
Well, yeah, he was great in Oregon, but you develop happy feet, and that's a hard habit to break after you do it game in and game out for a couple of years. And I thought Rosen was probably the third best of the 5 that came out last year, but it's obvious that he's not. He shouldn't even been drafted in the first round.
Yeah, Rosen's not I wasn't sold on him before the draft. The only time I ever backed him was when Arizona dumped him to get Murray, because I just thought, even though I didn't think he was a good quarterback, they gave up on him too soon. He didn't really get an opportunity in Arizona, so I was a little salty about that, because I think every human being deserves a shot, and he didn't really get that opportunity. But I still don't think he's a good quarterback. I just think he should have gotten a chance. I know there's going to be a bias from both of us on this. One, because it's my favorite team, and another because you gotta bet with me on this. But are the Vikings for real? And is that defense back to being what it was?